to Point Blank, where we suss out the issues on the ground. I'm E-von.
And I'm Nicola. You know, F1 has barely packed up and left Singapore.
That's right, barely rolled out of Singapore.
Driven out of Singapore.
Yeah. We have our eyes on racing and motorsports in Singapore tonight. And in our living room, to help us do that, we actually have two local drifters. We have, on my far left, Ivan Lim, who has participated in Formula Drift, as well as Colin Teo. Well, mind you, they do have day jobs.
Yep.
Colin's a school teacher, and Ivan's a marketing executive.
Correct.
Well, we've just come out of F1 fever, but the thing is that the F1 track is really off limits to our local car racers.
Well, Razer TV checks out where and how some of them are satisfying that need for speed.
Let's take a look.
Singapore might have successfully hosted the world's first ever night race here over the weekend. But our local race car enthusiasts have long geared themselves up for some high-speed action in the night way before the Grand Prix. Despite the hype that surrounded the Grand Prix, how could anyone forget that there was absolutely no local involvement in the F1? Unless you're talking about the privileged few who could afford to show up as spectators on race days.
See, the ticket only is so expensive. There's even a 13,000 ticket for 2 person. 1,000, my car can fly already. See, if I throw another 13,000 into my car, you know how much faster my car can be.
Unlike the superstars who were burning up their tires on our roads over the weekend, our local race car enthusiasts don't even have a place of their own to begin with.
We actually do it in Malaysia, because we won't get into, deep shit.
They should do one for us. If not, we have to go to Malaysia, Pasir Gudang or Sepang, then we'll pay to Malaysia government. So might as well Singapore build one, then we'll pay to Singapore.
Actually, government also know that we do illegal racing on certain roads. So maybe they can hold some events on that illegal place for us lah. Then so that we won't risk our life.
If not, you see Lim Chu Kang, that whole stretch of road, it's so wide and big. They go and organize one event maybe once a month or what for people to do drag or something. Yeah, they still earn money. But they just don't want. They will ask TP to just hide at the bushes, film us, take camera of us speeding, then summon us.
And with our traffic police constantly on high alert these days and nights, how are aspiring racers coping with their limited space within the fast lanes?
They used to organize, like race going on at Sepang, so we go there to, after all our mods on the car, that's the only place we can actually, see our performance and our skills, pick it up from there.
Actually, personally, taken part in any of these race events, not like advanced driving courses, but race competitions organized by the Singapore Motorsports Association.
None at all.
Those car park rallies?
No, none at all.
Why?
Car park rally is a joke. You're racing around a car park. What can you accomplish out of it?
Some people have said that it's quite a challenge because the bands are narrow.
So how are you going to negotiate a bend around a car park? It's ridiculous. It's not meant for cars, especially turbo cars. We play high-end power. What kind of high-end power are you going to get out of the car park? First, second gear, then you got to stop.
And how do they satisfy that need for speed?
Those illegal ones.
Where?
There would be maybe what they call Lim Chu Kang, 40 Tiang, West Coast, Punggol.
Over here on the 99, the 99 bands.
What do they have to say about the local racing scene? That is, if it even exists.
boxing situation. There's none. It's non-existent. And we don't have a track. The only go-kart track we have is pathetic. It's so small. Everyone complains it's too small. The karts are not powerful enough. Though there are a lot of people who spend a lot of money, there are still people like, I can do this, I can do that. I can get full potential out of the car because of the government. It's all illegal. If you get pulled over in a roadblock, or even like a TP or ROV, cop rides out next to you, he smells your exhaust, he's going to pull you over, and you can go pull back to ROV for lane inspection, and that's just not worth it, because the fines are so heavy.
What about that first permanent racetrack which will be up in Singapore in a couple of years' time? Well, if you don't already know, that's only going to be a Grade 2 rather than a Grade 1 circuit, which is required to hold F1 races.
Of course, a full F1 certified, FIA approved track will be, ideal. Who wouldn't want that? That's why we are going to Sepang to race, to test the limits of our skill and the limits of our cars. And that's what it's all about.
Compared to really Grade 1 track for like Formula 1, we still have much to catch up with. Be it the track wise, the science, the distance, everything.
And now with the F1, then what? Will the prospects of our racing hopefuls here brighten up anytime soon?
So we have very good and talented drivers here. It's just whether they are given the opportunity or not. There are people, like example, my annoying neighbor. Sorry. Like some people who tend to be more conservative, they will think that if they hear a noisy car pulling alongside them, and then they will think that that guy is some ruffian or some moron. You know what I'm saying? And after this F1 event, it might change their perception of motor racing. Yeah, I think acceptance and people will be more open and say, for instance, a local businessman who has a kid, has a son. I think he would probably find out how perhaps Lewis Hamilton started racing. He started from 6 or 7, right? But if you talk about, say, a traditional Singaporean Chinese person who has a son, I think you probably send him like for some piano class lessons or something. I think they would change that and maybe send them to some racing school and become a future racing driver. Perhaps one day we have our own Singaporean Formula 1 driver.
We don't have that kind of resources here. We don't have a kart track. We don't have a decent kart track. We don't have a racetrack, So how are you going to groom people? I'm sure there are talents who will put their name on a map, who can get their names on a map if they were given a chance.
So a couple of pretty upset race car drivers.
That guy in green was very angsty.
Yeah,
jaded and angsty.
Very.
Yeah. Do you agree with them that there's no space, no place for racers in Singapore?
Well, there's no legal spot in Singapore for that kind of racing, if you will.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Ivan? You are a drifter, so what do you think about what he just said?
Currently, there isn't anywhere we can actually train and practice, but I believe Sports Council and SMSA are quite supportive, and if I'm not wrong, by 2011, we would have our own permanent racetrack at Changi. So that should be good. Yeah.
But it's true that, barring the fact that there's no legal place or a place for them for racers like you and like for those gentlemen over there to race and practice, they either go to Malaysia or they do it illegally at night.
Yes,
at all the famous places, Lim Chu Kang. What are some of the places that you know?
Well, we've heard of places, definitely Lim Chu Kang, as some of them have mentioned on the shots, like 40 Tiang.
Yeah, which was 40 lampposts, right?
40 lampposts, I guess, in Hokkien.
Which is Lim Chu Kang.
Yeah.
Yes, Lim Chu Kang is the same one. Then what's 991?
That would be the South Buona Vista Road behind NUH.
Oh, okay, near Bukit Panjang area, is it?
No, not near Bukit Panjang. It's near Kent Park.
Kent Park, that's right.
There. Okay.
So it's a good place to go because if you crash, you can go straight to hospital.
Oh, okay. Right behind the hospital.
That's right.
Okay, these people know where to have races.
Safe place, sort of.
But you see, the thing is that they are racers. These people in the videos, I was thinking that you might be able to, to sort of empathize with them a bit, because you yourself, both of you are race drifters. But it's quite different from their sport, isn't it?
That's right.
How different is it?
The first group of guys, they actually do drag racing, which is basically 0 to 400 meters. So it's just straight line acceleration. And then the second group, which you're talking about speed, right? Getting more speed, that is actually similar to track racing and street racing, where it's more exciting because you take the corners really quick. And they're both different forms of racing, and ours would be drifting, where we actually intentionally lose control of the vehicle, but still maintain it within control.
Yeah, and the difference between drifting and drag racing or street racing, like the kinds we saw in the video, are that drifting is not about speed but about skill, right? About
more
corners,
of control, control.
About clipping corners, about about more of a performance than just.
It's a spectacle sport.
Yeah,
correct.
Which is quite different from high speed sort of events.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, so what do you think about? So we're talking about how these local races are held illegally, but yours, you have local, very much legal competitions like Formula Drift, which both of you participated in.
Correct.
But how does it make you feel when you drive your own zhenged up cars on the road, and everybody thinks that you're an abing? Yeah, you're an abing. You are paikia. You just want to race like a devil.
Yeah. It depends on how you drive the car and how you do up your vehicle. Because some cars, some owners, they prefer a lot of neon lights. So the perception to some would be, this guy has like so much neon lights. It's an abeng driving an abeng's car. But perhaps to him it's a different style, and it's cool in its own way. Yeah.
Do you think there's a double standard? Because, in America you have the X Games, and then you have the rally section of the X Games, and then
correct.
So if you're in America and you have like a Subaru Rex full of Red Bull stickers or Rockstar stickers, people are going to go, "Oh, you're so cool, you're a rally driver." But if you have the same car here, people are like, "Chao Bing."
Yeah. Well,
that's right. Well, typically the drivers in Singapore, when they place logos on their cars, they may feel like it's a cool factor or stuff like that. For both of us, and with our own respective cars that have the decals and stripes or whatever on the car, it's a representation for the race itself. It's a representation for the sponsors in the race itself.
So have both of you ever on the road when you're driving, someone has
have you raced anybody at a traffic light?
Not really.
No, never?
Well, we've been, shall we say, invited in a way to
solicited for race.
Yeah, I can put it that way. At the end of the day, like you think about it, it's not really worth the thrill. We don't gain a few more brain cells by winning this guy on a PIE or whatever. So what's the point?
So do you enjoy driving at high speeds in your modified cars?
When racing.
Do you think that's the general sentiment? Because I've seen at night, especially like 4 a.m. you're driving around, right? And then there are always like these zheng cars, and they go really fast along like highways. Do you think like you're maybe the exception more than the norm? You think it should be confined to the racetrack?
Well, we've seen the kind of accidents that vehicle owners can get themselves into at certain locations around Singapore. Nasty bends, corners and stuff, where they think that they feel like they're God inside their vehicle, and they feel that they can go through the corner at any speed. Rather than that, maybe we've come to a point whereby it's good to have all the modifications in the car, drive it safely on the roads.
Yeah, but it's true that zheng cars or modified cars have earned quite a reputation on the roads. You see one, you think that you've seen them all. Yeah. But you drive a modified car. So how does it make you feel? It's like, I'm not one of them. Does it make you feel like, no, don't mistake me, I'm not one of them? What goes through your mind when you see people staring at you in your car? How about Colin? I know your car looks really fierce on the outside. We'll see Colin's car later on, okay? We'll see him. So you have to stay after the break to see Colin's car, okay?
Right.
But yeah, how do you feel like, you know, when you're driving, whizzing through the streets at a perfectly safe speed and people are
60
staring at you?
kilometers an hour, and then people are like, look.
Because people are bound to stare.
Definitely. I mean, the first primary reason I bought this car was there's less than about 60 of them left in Singapore, so it was the uniqueness that I went for. Then, as for the looks, I guess it grew over time as sponsorships from companies like Binter for my tires and Fush Oil. As these came along, then the so-called the outlook of the car took a life of its own. You know, as people want to stare at the car, I said, fine, go ahead. You know, I have people on the road at traffic junctions take photos while they're crossing the road.
You're very proud of your car.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. You know, please, by all means. Yep.
Well, we'll find out more about Ivan's and Colin's wheels. You'll see exactly how they look like and how souped up they are right after the break.
Yeah.
All right.